I'm Pam Curley. I'm the 4-H program assistant in Lee County, and because of a survey that we recently did, I heard that the teachers wanted a chance to pick each other's brains. So that's the main purpose for today. But I'm going to start out by sharing some things that I've learned over the summer, and I hope that something new will be presented. To start, I don't know if you've heard of Menti, but I suspect that you have. And I would like, this has a purpose more than just using Menti, but also if you could log in to Menti and answer this question. So I've asked you about what you like about virtual. I think it's also important to know what it is that makes face-to-face lessons engaging, so that we know what we're looking for in how to make our virtual lessons engaging. This particular Menti, these can be completed ahead of time. You just send a link out to your class, and then they can answer these questions, and then you share the word cloud when you're ready. I like doing it live because I like watching the word cloud form. That might be because I'm a visual learner. So of course, you can do that virtually as well. I'm making notes here so we can come back and make sure that we cover this. Well, and there is virtual whiteboards as well. So far, there's ways to meet your face-to-face engaging in virtual worlds. So a lot of these answers, I think, are about virtual lessons. I'm looking for what makes face-to-face. What is it about your face-to-face lessons that you're missing right now in our virtual world? Is everybody able to get on the Menti page? So I want to keep these things in mind as we carry on, because that's what we're trying to accomplish virtually. So I am going to move on. And this is a list of some things that I have tried successfully in other things that I've done this summer that have made the online learning a little more fun. When this is over, I'm going to give you a PDF with links to all of these. There's way more than this, but a lot of them do the same thing, and I think it's best to pick one and learn how to use it. Then you can use it well and not try to do too much. But there's a couple of things in here like Padlet and Leno and Google Jamboard. They're very similar. They just look different, and they can mix it up by Leno Jamboard is pretty. If you haven't tried that, it's pretty. There's some training that you should go through before you try to use it live. But Jamboard does a lot of it already, and it seems a little more intuitive. So Canva, if you haven't used Canva, it's a tool that makes it possible to design anything and publish anywhere. And I really like using that for making visuals, especially PNG visuals that you can put into slideshows. So on the next slide, I've learned something called a chat waterfall. So on the next slide, I'm going to ask you a question, but I want you to type your answer in the chat menu, but don't hit enter. This would be a lot more fun if you have 30 people on to do this, but you might get the idea, or you can imagine what the idea is. And you are invited to Google this or to use your phone to answer this question. This comes from one of our classroom enrichment curriculum. So here you go. So type the answer to this question in your chat, but don't hit enter. And we would wait a few minutes, however how long you want to give your students to find the answer to the question. And then one of the things we do is type it and put your hands up in the air so that you're not tempted to hit enter, or you don't accidentally hit enter. And then after enough time has passed, and I guess I am going to say, now hit enter. And again, if you had 20 students doing this, all the answers would now start to pop up on the screen. So, or pop up in your chat window. So the actual answer to this is endosperm. So this is called a chat waterfall or a chat attack. Just to try a couple of the things that I suggested on that other screen. I'm not going to go through them all. One is the idea of a parking lot. So while you're teaching, your students may have questions or comments that you're not ready for yet. So you could create a parking lot for your classrooms, and the students always have a link. So I want to show you my parking lot. And during the class, you can encourage them to go into your parking lot and ask their questions. And then during breaks, you can go in to the parking lot and see what questions that maybe came up during your presentations. Those, just don't forget to go to the parking lot and clear it out, I guess, between classes so that your next group of students can come in and ask their questions. So this is a parking lot through the Google Suite, and I will be sharing this exact parking lot with you guys at the end as a link, and then you can copy it and make it your own or ask the questions that you want to ask. So the other thing that I've discovered recently that is fun is called Factile, and this is an example of one that I began to create using our 4-H school enrichment curriculum. I left these blank because You're Hired and Health Rocks, because I wanted to show that you don't have to use all the categories, all the columns, or all the rows. You can do a smaller Jeopardy style game. And once you've set up your questions, you start the play game. And I'm taking you through those steps. Then you would click play now. And here's where you select how many students that you want to play, or you could have your students work in teams with a team captain. I'm just saying one for now because it's easier that way. Buzzer mode is required. Each team can choose, or you can choose for them, a fun little person, team captain, lobster man here. And then you would start the game. And at this point, you would ask somebody, and I'm going to do that, to choose a category and a dollar amount.
I'll go ahead. I'll take one. Gosh, hydroponics at 100, please.
All right. So then you would click on the hydroponics at 100, and I would let everybody who's playing the game to tune in, or let one way is to let all the students on this team type in the chat box, and then let the captain choose the right answer. And I think you can determine how long you give them, but do you have a guess? anybody. So if your students guess correctly, and I'm going to say you did hydroponics for 100, these are plant scientists, and you would say yes, they checked correctly, and that team would get points, or no, they guessed incorrectly, and that team does not get points. And it's very easy to put one of these together, and is a nice way to have an interactive game with your kids. And if you have them in the classroom, you could maybe have a classroom team and a at-home team, and the chat windows are working on answering the questions, and they can take turns or however you think that might work best in your classroom. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, almost the last thing I'm going to show you, is the wheel of names. This is a way to select winners or who plays next or whose turn it is next to go in your classroom. And I just think it's a neat, you go in and here it is. You go in and pre-enter all your names, and then you can stick it on full screen and you can spin, and it will select a winner. Oh, look, I won. Once one person's won, you can actually remove them from the list and then spin it again so that everybody gets an opportunity to win. You can put pictures in here or names. And so, well, looky there. Kelly wins. All right. So that was convenient, right? So to go back to my whiteboard is over here. To share that instead. All right, and so the last thing that I'm going to show you is, and I recently learned about this, but this is my virtual classroom. This is my Bitmoji that I created through the Bitmoji app, and you can use backgrounds and create a virtual classroom, and this can be used just as a slide to start your slideshow, or you can use it for pre-creating interactive slideshows that you would then send to your students and they can do an interactive slideshow, and you can put links in for videos and lessons that you want them to participate in. I'm also going to send you a link to a tutorial on how to get your emoji and how to create your virtual classroom. But I've had a lot of fun using this since I made this classroom, and I've put it in 3 other slideshows that I'm doing for some school enrichment programs for some other teachers in the county. And I'll have a link for that in the PDF for you as well that I'm going to share in a minute. And then also, and this would be the time where I would ask you guys to take some opportunity to brainstorm with each other on what challenges you have in the classroom. And I intended to use Jamboard to take notes and let you guys discuss your challenges and how we as a group can figure out how to solve those problems. This is our current Jamboard, and I invite you to continue adding to it, and I will be sharing this link with you so that you can see what your fellow teachers have added or needs or wants. Thank you. 4-H is a community for all kids with programs that suit a variety of backgrounds, interests, budgets, and schedules. From in-school to after-school, clubs to camps, 4-H's positive youth development programs are available in Lee County, and we welcome young people who want to have fun, learn, and grow. In NC, 4-H is brought to you by the NC State and NC State A&T Cooperative Extension, whose experts and educators share university knowledge, information, and tools you can use every day to improve your life. Boundless is a Lee County school enrichment program. For information about how to access our Boundless package, contact Lee County 4-H.